You're 14 years old, and you live in a neighborhood where respect is the only currency that matters. Naples, or Palermo, or Corleone. A concrete block of apartments where your mother works double shifts and your father is either in prison, in a grave, or just gone. The men on the street corners have money in their pockets and gold on their wrists, and when they look at you, they don't see a kid, they see potential. Your first job is simple: watch the street. Whistle if you see police. Whistle a different tune if you see men in cars you don't recognize. You're a lookout, a Polino, eyes on the street for €20 a week. You're good at it because you've been watching the street your whole life. You know who belongs and who doesn't, the way other kids know multiplication tables. The men notice. One of them, they call him Zio Franco, Uncle Frank. Though he's not your real uncle, starts buying you espresso at the bar on the corner. He asks about your mother, your grades, your plans. Smart boy like you, he says, stirring sugar into his coffee, should have a future. You don't know what that means yet, but you're about to find out. You're 17 now. You've graduated from lookout to runner. They call you avvicinato, one who has been approached. Not made, not yet, but close enough to taste it. You run envelopes across the city. Money, mostly. Collections from businesses that pay for protection. Protection from what? From the men you work for? But you don't ask that question. You learn early that questions are dangerous. You sit in the back of cafes while men talk business in front. You're furniture. You're supposed to be furniture. Furniture doesn't hear. Furniture doesn't remember. But you do remember. You remember the names, the amounts, the way men look at each other when they're deciding whether to trust or kill. One night, Zio Franco takes you to a warehouse on the outskirts of town. There's a man inside, tied to a chair. He's been there for 3 days. He made a mistake, talked to police, or skimmed money, or looked at someone's wife the wrong way. You don't know which, you don't ask. Franco hands you a baseball bat. He doesn't respect the family, Franco says. Show him what respect looks like. You've never heard anyone before. Not like this. Your hands shake. The man in the chair is crying, begging, promising. You swing. You don't stop swinging until Franco tells you to stop. On the way home, Franco puts a hand on your shoulder. Tonight, he says, you became a man. You don't feel like a man. You feel like someone else. Someone you don't recognize in the mirror. But the money is better now. The respect is better. And the door that was cracked open before is now wide enough to walk through. The ceremony happens in a basement, or a back room, or a farmhouse far from the city. You're 22. You've proven yourself. You've kept your mouth shut, done what was asked, never flinched. The men you work for have vouched for you. Your name has been proposed to the commission, and they've approved. Tonight, you become uomo d'onore, a man of honor. They bring you into the room. Around the table sit the important ones, the captains, the underboss, maybe even the boss himself if you're lucky. A gun and a knife are placed on the table in front of you. Symbols. The gun is for the enemies of the family. The knife is for traitors. They prick your trigger finger with a pin. Blood drips onto a holy card, a saint, usually the family's patron. The card is placed in your hands and set on fire. You hold it as it burns, passing it from hand to hand, showing you can endure pain. I enter this organization, you recite, alive and free, and I will leave it dead. You kiss each man at the table on the cheek. They are now your family. Not your blood family, your real family. This bond supersedes everything. Marriage, children, parents. This comes first. You walk out into the night with a new identity. You are now a made man in Cosa Nostra, or the Camorra, or the 'Ndrangheta. The specific name doesn't matter. What matters is that you belong to something that will never let you go. You're a soldier now, scarista, the backbone of the family. Your territory is a few blocks of a city nobody outside your neighborhood has heard of. You control the construction contracts, the drug sales, the gambling, the loan sharking. Every business on your streets pays you something. Every cop on your streets takes something. Every kid on your streets wants to be you. You have men under you now, associates, runners, kids, who look at you the way you looked at Zio Franco 15 years ago. You teach them the way you were taught. Loyalty first, silence always, questions never. Your days are a rhythm of collections and meetings and threats delivered quietly over espresso. When someone doesn't pay, you send a message. A broken window, a beating, a fire. Escalation is an art form, and you've mastered it. At night, you sleep in a different apartment every week because informants exist and you're not stupid. Your wife knows not to ask. Your children know not to ask. The family provides schools, doctors, a house that's technically in someone else's name, but the family also takes. It takes your time, your attention, your capacity for normal human connection. You've killed 4 men now. The first was the hardest. The fourth was just work. You're 40. You've survived wars, investigations, and the relentless turnover of men who thought they were smarter than they were. Now you're a capodecina, a captain. You command a crew of 10, 20, maybe 30 soldiers. You sit on the family's commission. You vote on who lives and who dies. Your territory is larger now, a whole district, or a slice of the city's economy. Construction, waste management, drug importation. You meet with businessmen who wear suits and pretend they're not criminals. You meet with politicians who wear flags on their lapels and pretend they're not bought. Everyone is pretend. The only real thing is money and the threat of violence that enforces it. You give orders now. You don't break bones. You tell younger men which bones to break. You don't kill. You give the nod, and someone else does the work. But the blood is still on your hands. It will always be on your hands. Your biggest job is managing egos. Young soldiers want respect. They want to prove themselves. They move too fast, talk too loud, attract attention. You teach them patience the way you were taught through fear, through silence, through the occasional reminder that disobedience has consequences. At night, you sit in your favorite restaurant, one of the ones that pays you for protection, and drink wine with other captains. You talk about business, about family, about the old days when men were men and informants were rare. You know those days never existed, but you pretend they did. Nostalgia is the only luxury you allow yourself. You're 55. You've never wanted to be boss. You've seen what happens to bosses. Prison or a bullet, or both. You're the consigliere, the advisor, the one who doesn't give orders but shapes every order that's given. Your office is a table at a cafe, a back room in a social club, a car parked on a side street. You don't carry a gun. You don't need one. Your weapon is judgment, the ability to see around corners, to predict what rivals will do, to know which allies will fold under pressure and which will die standing. The boss comes to you with problems. A captain who's getting greedy. A politician who's demanding more money. A rival family encroaching on your territory. You listen, you nod, you offer options. The boss chooses, you implement. You're the keeper of secrets. You know where the money is, who the informants are, which judges can be bought, and which can't. You know the weaknesses of every made man in the family, and you file that knowledge away for the day it might be needed. Your relationship with the boss is delicate. You're his closest confidant, which means you're also his biggest threat. Too much influence and he'll wonder if you're planning to replace him. Too little and he'll stop listening when it matters. You walk this line daily, hourly, with every word you speak. At night, you go home to a wife who stopped asking what you do all day. Your children are grown, educated, far from this life. You made sure of that. They'll never be made. They'll never know the weight of this honor. That's the only gift you could give them. You're the number 2, the sottocapo, the man who runs the family day to day while the boss stays in the shadows. The boss trusts you completely, which means you're the only person in the organization who can kill him. Everyone knows this. Everyone watches you for signs of ambition. You handle the hard conversations, the captains who've become problems, the soldiers who need to be reminded who's in charge, the rival families who've crossed lines that can't be uncrossed. You're the face of the family's discipline, which means you're the face men fear. When war comes, you plan it. When peace comes, you enforce it. When the boss goes to prison, and eventually, you become the acting boss. Some underbosses use that time to build their own power. Some use it to position themselves for the top job. Some just survive, which is harder than it sounds. You've been to prison twice. Not long, a few years each time, but long enough to know what it costs. Your wife raised the children alone. Your oldest son barely speaks to you. Your daughter married a man who isn't in the life, and you're not sure if you're proud or disappointed. The family took everything. It gave you respect, money, purpose. But it took everything else. You made that trade willingly. You'd make it again. That's what makes you dangerous. You're the capo dei capi, the boss of bosses. Not officially, the commission doesn't allow official titles, but everyone knows. When you speak, other bosses listen. When you nod, wars end. When you shake your head, men die. You don't get your hands dirty anymore. You haven't in years. You sit in a villa behind walls that cost millions. surrounded by men who would die for you and a few who might kill you. You've survived 3 assassination attempts. You'll survive more. Your power is absolute and completely conditional. It depends on loyalty, and loyalty in this life is rented, never owned. Every captain under you is a potential rival. Every boss in every other family is a potential ally or enemy, and you can never be sure which until the moment matters. You manage an empire worth hundreds of millions. Legitimate businesses, construction, real estate, waste management sit alongside the traditional enterprises. You've laundered so much money through so many accounts that even you don't know the full scope. That's by design. Plausible deniability extends upward too. When you were a soldier, you thought being boss meant freedom. Now you know it means the opposite. You're a prisoner of your own creation, surrounded by walls you built, protected by men you pay, trusted by no one, and trusting no one. At night, you sit alone in your study and look at photographs of men who came before you. Dead men, imprisoned men, men who thought they were untouchable until they weren't. You know your fate will be the same, prison or death. Those are the only endings available. But not tonight. Tonight you're still the boss. Tonight you still decide. The trial lasted 3 years. The appeals lasted 2 more. But eventually, they put you away. You're 68 now, sitting in a maximum security prison in a cell you'll probably die in. The sentence is multiple life terms. There's no parole in the federal system for men like you. Prison is different for a made man. You have respect here too. The younger inmates, the ones who aren't connected, know to leave you alone. The guards treat you carefully. You have your own cell, your own routine, your own small empire within the walls. You exercise, you read, you receive visits from your children, who come less often now, and your grandchildren, who barely know you. You talk to them about school, about sports, about everything except the reason you're here. The FBI comes to see you every few months. They want you to talk. They want you to flip. They offer witness protection, a new identity, a chance to see your grandchildren grow up outside these walls. You laugh every time. You laugh because they don't understand. You took an oath. You held a burning saint in your hands and promised to die before betraying the family. That promise is the only thing you have left. Your freedom, your family, your health, all gone. But your word remains. Omerta, the code of silence. It's not just a rule, it's who you are. At night, you lie in your bunk and listen to the sounds of the prison, the clanging doors, the distant shouts, the weeping of men who broke and now have nothing. You're still whole. Still a man of honor. Still silent. They'll bury you here, and you'll take every secret with you. Some choose a different path. You're 60, sitting in a hotel room in Arizona, under a name that isn't yours, waiting for the U.S. Marshals to move you again. 3 times in 2 years. 3 cities, 3 identities, 3 attempts to stay ahead of the men who want you dead. You're a pentito, a collaborator, the thing you swore you'd never become. It started when they arrested your son. Not for mob stuff, he was never in the life. You made sure of that, but for something stupid. Drugs, possession with intent, 10 years minimum. The prosecutor made you an offer. Your testimony for his freedom. You said no at first. Of course you said no. You're a man of honor. Then you watched your son in shackles during a hearing, and you realized that honor is an abstraction, and your son is real. You made the deal that night. Now you've testified in 4 trials. You've put 12 made men in prison, including 2 you grew up with, 1 you made, and 1 you called brother. They'll never forgive you. Their families will never forgive you. Your family, your real family, the one by blood, barely speaks to you, because they know what you did, even if they understand why. You live in a world without texture. Safe houses, hotel rooms, apartments, chosen by marshals. No photographs on the wall, because you might have to leave them. No friendships, because friends are leverage. No phone calls longer than 10 minutes, because calls can be traced. You watch Italian movies and cry. Not because they're sad, because the streets look like home. Because the language sounds like your mother. Because you'll never walk those streets again. At night, you dream about the ceremony. The burning saint, the kiss on the cheek, the words you spoke. I will leave it dead. You left it alive. You left it breathing and hunting and waiting. And every time you close your eyes, you wonder which shadow will finally find you. Somewhere in Naples right now, a 14-year-old boy is sitting on a stoop watching the street. His mother works double shifts. His father is in prison, or dead or gone. The men on the corner have money in their pockets and gold on their wrists, and when they look at him, they don't see a kid. They see potential. One of them will buy him an espresso someday. Will ask about his mother, his grades, his plans. Smart boy like you, the man will say, stirring sugar into his coffee, should have a future. The boy doesn't know what that future holds. He doesn't know about the warehouse and the baseball bat. He doesn't know about the burning saint or the oath or the prison cell waiting at the end of every road. He doesn't know about the hotel rooms in Arizona, or the nightmares, or the weight of silence that crushes men from the inside. He knows the men on the corner have respect. They have money. They have something to belong to. He wants that. He'll take the first envelope. He'll keep his mouth shut. He'll swing the bat when they hand it to him. He'll become a soldier, a captain, maybe more. He'll taste power and money and fear. He'll lose everything that matters and convince himself it was worth it. Or he'll be the one who breaks, the one who testifies, the one who spends the rest of his life looking over his shoulder in cities he never wanted to see. He doesn't know any of this yet. He just knows he's hungry for something the straight world can't give him. The man on the corner sees it in his eyes. The same hunger they saw in yours 40 years ago. The same hunger that built empires and filled graveyards and created the life you lived and the life you lost. Come have a coffee with me, the man says. Let's talk. The boy stands up. The cycle begins.